Good morning, Talk.
Good morning. How are you?
Oh, better for seeing you. I'm just letting all our
I
wonderful
will.
friends in.
I
Thank
will do that. Yeah.
Oh, we're thrilled to see you. Admit, I'm having to multitask, Fiona. You're much better at multitasking than me.
Can you see me now?
I can see you now. It's wonderful to see you. Good
Thank you.
morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Oh, great. And that light's helping me, mate. So don't worry. I feel so much better. It's lovely to see you. Julie's had to put up with me all morning this morning. Good morning, Julie. Oh, sound, my darling one.
Good morning, and thank you. A million thanks.
A million thanks. You're amazing. We've got Jamie in and Marie's in. How are you, Anne-Marie? All these wonderful people I've been in contact with. The Dougsters in the house. Oh, Doug.
Morning.
And you're like approaching your future with the ironed shirt behind you, Doug. This is like...
Oh, yes. It's been sitting there for a while.
Oh, fantastic. So, Ikyam Jose, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing your beautiful name correctly, mate. Michael's joining us. How are you, mate?
Hello.
Hello.
Hey,
Now,
Tara.
it's wonderful to hear from you, my darling. Make sure I'm pronouncing your name correctly. How are you?
I'm good. I'm just online from Ecuador.
Oh, that is amazing. We are so excited to see you. We're just thrilled, my love. So Michael's in, Gazal's in. Now again,
Hello. Hey, Tara.
And my darling, what time is it in Ecuador?
It's at 8 p.m.
Oh, wow. Well, we're thrilled. Good evening to you, and we are so excited to see you. It's just a joy. Michael's in, Gazelle's
Thank you so much.
Angeliki, what a beautiful name that is. That's magnificent. Good morning. And Deepak is in. Oh, Deepak's lovely to see you, mate. Been lovely to be in touch with you. And Murray's in place. How are you, Murray?
Yeah, glad to be here. Looking forward to it.
Oh, mate, fantastic. Just keep reminding me, Fig said, we've got wonderful people. We thought it'd be Doug, Fiona, and I. This is terribly exciting. So we're doing, I think that's it, Dan. Just can you keep watching that for me in case I miss it? That's fantastic. So, colleagues, we're just about to click onto the hour. And Bree, hello. I've been in touch with Bree all morning as well. Good morning, Bree. And that's wonderful, Brianna. Hi, Bree. Oh, she's ignoring me at this point, but Bree, good morning, darling.
Good morning. Sorry, no, it took me a bit to click the button, and hang on. There we go. Hi.
Oh, and who's our little friend? Who's our magnificently beautiful redhead I just saw?
That's my daughter Pippa.
Hello, Pippa. Good morning to you. Your mum's amazing. So look, colleagues, we'll make a start. And Bree, you're a blessing to me, and you've been a blessing to me this morning. So let's have a lovely time. This is a relaxed experience. I'm with one of my dearest friends in the universe, Fiona Steele, but we'll talk about Queen Fee shortly. Isn't she magnificent? She is glorious. But colleagues, I will commence with an acknowledgement of country, acknowledging the traditional owners of all the land on which we meet today, elders past, present and emerging, and any Indigenous colleagues with us today. And welcome. This is an incredibly relaxed and friendly and gorgeous, I hope, experience for you all. We'll answer any question. There's no such thing as a silly question. There's just a silly person that doesn't want to answer a clever question. So we'll have lots of questions from you. But I thought I'd start with the legendary Fiona for just a couple of minutes to give you, if you like, the shaping of what a PhD and a research master's degree is. But Fiona, do you want to say hello to the universe?
I'm the manager of the Higher Degree by Research program here at CDU. I work very closely with Tara, our Dean of Graduate Studies, and we've got a team of admin staff that support our PhD and Masters by Research students.
And Fiona will be helping me through this. She is the brains of the operation, as you may have worked out. So, colleagues, let's go for it. I suppose we just need to start with, at its most basic, what is a PhD? We all know, I think, what a PhD is, but a PhD has one characteristic, really, and that is it provides a significant original contribution to knowledge. And a research master's, which can be a Master of Arts or a Master of Science, an MSc, they're the two most common ones. They're fantastic qualifications too, but the difference is they don't provide an original contribution to knowledge. They synthesize knowledge. Incredibly important, but they are different. And there are other differences in length as well. So a PhD is about 80,000 to 100,000 words in most modes, and a master's degree is about 50,000 words in length. A PhD takes 3 years. A master's degree takes 2 years. Great. Now, there are different types of PhD. So we've got lots of people and diverse people on the call, and let's just talk about the diversity of the doctorates. There is, of course, the traditional doctorate, the standard doctorate, it's often called, that's between 80 and 100,000 words in length. Basically, what happens, colleagues, is you find a gap in knowledge. There is a problem that you're trying to solve, and you find the literature review that reveals that gap and the methods that you're going to use to fill that gap. We also have a thesis called the artifact and exegesis thesis. Big phrase, but these are exciting. So these involve artifacts, which could be a performance, a soundscape, an exhibition, a piece of furniture, clothing, all sorts of diverse and wonderful artifacts. And you write an exegesis that comes from the Greek, which means explanation, and the exegetical component explains the original contribution to knowledge created through those artifacts. Okay, and we also have the PhD by prior publication, the PPP. So for those of us on the call that have a career, you've already written refereed publications that nest or cluster in a particular area, you've published through peer review, then you could be up for a PPP. So you cluster those publications to verify your SOC, your significant original contribution to knowledge. You write a contextual statement of between 20 and 40,000 words that goes at the front and talks about you, talks about your expertise, and talks about how you've developed this knowledge and the knowledge you have created. And the enrolment length for the PPP is 6 months in length. Now, all higher degrees that we've talked about are assessed by international examiners. So at the end of it, the only examination moment you have, good morning, Queen Sarah. She's my friend, Sarah, she's my friend. Yes, so she's my friend and she's also Sarah's friend. So the key moment in a PhD is the examination at the end. So 2 of the greatest scholars in the world assess your work. And that, unlike so many undergraduate degrees, that's the assessment moment for your doctorate. You're supported through your PhD by 2 remarkable supervisors that are your guides on the side. They take you by the hand and they look after you. Now, we do have scholarships that are available for domestic and international colleagues. They are assessed differently because obviously colleagues coming from around the world have different pathways to us. But for our domestic students, which includes our Australian and our Aotearoa New Zealand students, you are granted a fee offset. So that means that the university pays your fees for you. So for our domestic colleagues, you will not pay fees. And you can also apply for a scholarship that's called a stipend that contributes to your living expenses. Now, for our international colleagues, we have a scholarship program that pays both. So please apply for that scholarship. We welcome your application, and that will give you a stipend and also pay for your fees. And you can get to that site and see all the stuff that's available for you. If you put in HDR, CDU, admissions into Google, you will find the wonderful page that's geared for you right now, today, to guide you through that process. And I just want to make sure, I don't know if we've got any Kiwis on the call, but just so Kiwis know that you from New Zealand, you are classed as a domestic student with us. So that's great sort of trans-Tasman sovereignty, which is brilliant. I also just want to finish off my little bit by saying that CDU has a digital doctorate in place. So that means you can be enrolled anywhere in the world and still part of our community. As you can see by the gig here, by so many of the gigs we run for training and support, that wherever you are in the world, you will have a parity of experience. Fiona and I are in Darwin, but we are with you all the time through digital mode. So a digital doctorate is available. Okay, so I'm going to just draw a breath there. How was that? 7 minutes?
Very good.
Maybe. So I'm going to open up now for questions. Oh, Michael went straight. That was a good one, Michael. Questions from all of you, and we'll do the best we can to answer. I'm so excited. So, Michael, mate, were you straight in?
Me? Yeah, my apologies, Tara. I've got an allergy and I didn't think my mic was on.
Oh,
so my apologies.
no, you got a question. That's great, Michael. The universe was meant to ask me a question. Go for it, Michael.
Okay, thank you both. I think my question is the swapping of regardless of whether it's Masters of Research or doctorate, if things happen in life, you know, I mean, I've followed, you know, the huge majority of your videos and over the years and everything, but is there a like if things do go wrong, what sort of support in terms of that Charles Darwin has, if anything goes wrong? That's the question I've got.
Yes.
And once again, I'm sorry for my voice and blowing my nose.
No, Michael, it's a bit of a Barry White moment for me. It's tremendous.
Yeah.
Now, Michael, this is great, and obviously Fee will talk about this as well. But the first thing is,
Fee.
I have a disability or an impairment, so I was born dyspraxic, and you'll notice that if I walk around a bit oddly. So, the thing I would say to you, if you have a disability or impairment, and about 20% of planet Earth do have a disability or impairment, we're a big supporter of using a disability action plan, a DAP, that right at the start of your candidature, we will care for you. So this is a big deal for Fiona and I. We do work on this together. So if one is coming to this program with an impairment, your privacy is respected, but a disability action plan is available, and we are the people to help that occur for you. So that's the first thing. We also have a thing at CDU called an LOA, a leave of absence. So if something horrific does happen in life, and as a lot of you know, my beloved late husband, Steve Redhead, died of pancreatic cancer. You know, bad things happen to good people, right? And so if shocking things happen, leave of absence is certainly available. You know, no problems at all, no issues. What I would say to you, Michael, obviously you and I have traveled together for many years. I was a young when I first met you with those videos, Michael. But can I say, mate, the important thing is to stay connected with the thesis, right? So when bad things happen, great supervisors are able to say to you, right, Michael, so we've got these tragedies that have happened to you, but what can we do to keep you connected to the thesis even 30 minutes a day? So when bad things happen, you stay connected. So, and also, do you want to we'll talk about counselling and wellbeing. It's a wonderful section at CDU that focuses on counselling and wellbeing and support and care for students. But I'll dial a gobble, shut up for a second. Go, Fee.
Thank you, Tara. Yes, Phoebe.
We have a support area for all of our students that has counselling and disability support and other support services that are available for all of our students. Plus, obviously, you've got your supervisor, and then there's you know, supports within the faculty to help you. We've got higher level staff, associate deans of research in each faculty, so they're there to help you problem solve and explore different options depending on what you're going through. Obviously, Tara is here, and the team in our Office of Research and Innovation can help put you on the right track.
And the wonderful team in ORI, Michael, so the Fraser Lewis ORI, Office of Research and Innovation, the high degree crew are nested there, and that's a blessing because we've got colleagues to help with industry partnerships. Anything goes wrong with IP, anything goes wrong with publications, the whole team. In most universities, they're sort of in different sections of the university, whereas here they're clustered. That means I can send an email to James, legendary James, morning James, an email to the legendary James and say, look, our students had a bit of challenges with publication and Springer. Can you help Michael? So that sort of support's available too. Is that helping, mate?
Oh, absolutely. And the last comment that I'd like to make is that support is needed, as I learned the hard way last year, through the ethics office, not the ethics office, but during the ethics process, because it's a really huge challenge. And I think a lot of students just don't think, oh yeah, we'll just do the ethics and that'll be it. And no, it's an extreme challenge. And I'm not saying it's a good or bad thing, but there would be that support there for the ethics. I mean, obviously with the supervisor as well, supervisors. Oh dear, sorry about my throat. But yeah, but that's the last question I have. Definitely during ethics as well, that process, because it can take quite a while, as I found out.
Yeah, look, Michael, it can, mate. And the other gift of Ori is actually ethics is in Ori. And so
good.
They care deeply for the high degree students. And interestingly, Michael, I've never seen this anywhere else in the world, but they treat ethics as very much an andragogical journey for the high degree students. So in other words, it's not like you failed ethics, go away and try again. Actually, the chair helps the students know that this is part of research training and helps the student develop. And as you've said, mate, you've got to think about that early. I've got a wonderful student, Piper, that's just joined, and we're trying to get her ethics through in the first 8 weeks. So from meeting 1, we were focused on ethics. So you're right to park that, mate.
Great. Thank you both very much for your help.
You're very precious to us, Michael. I can see other questions coming up too, but can we go to the Dougster? Doug with the aspirational iron shirt behind him. You're like together, Doug.
Yes, morning, all.
Morning, mate.
I got to think now. Two questions. When applying, like putting in the application, how does that work with end of year results? Because they're a separate thing. Like you're in NT, I'm in South Australia, and
yes,
the systems don't talk.
If you're finishing a course this year to commence next year, you just put it in with the results pending, and we can still fix it with the results pending, conditional on the results being what you're expecting and that level as well.
Is that on the application form?
It is, darling, in terms of you just have to put pending. So when they say honours result pending.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And so what happens, Doug, is because we believe very strongly in equality, because that's what we do at CDU, fully transparent metrics. So everybody knows how they're going to be ranked. It's transparent, it's clear. And so what happens is and so we have a big spreadsheet where everybody is ranked, Doug. And so you're just sitting there with a little asterisk in your honours result. And therefore, when that honours result comes in, the metric changes and you move up the table. Does that make sense?
It does. And should I include my master's thesis and stuff like that as part of the evidence?
Look, the response to that, Doug, is hell yeah.
Okay.
Hell yeah, mate. Absolutely. Put everything in there. It's your qualification. You earned it. And you're in a great situation where you've got honours now by the end of this year and you've got your masters. So you're very precious to us, Doug. So yeah, put everything in and allow our template to rank everything. Are you looking when I'm looking the chat? Oh, should I go to the chat? Fee, what's happening with the chat, darling? I've just popped the chat up. So, ooh. Hi, Jane. Hi, Jane. Hi, Jane. Hi, Jane. Jane, okay, key timelines. Oh, right. So that's Michael. What are the key timelines I need to be aware of? So as I've said, colleagues, we've got this, and I've just printed it out, but this is online where the deadlines are. And we've tried to give students every possible day we can. So really the end of October, I think, is the party.
Yeah, so for domestics that want a scholarship, a research training program scholarship for 2024, the closing date is the 31st of October. For internationals, it's a month earlier, it's the 30th of September. If you don't need a scholarship or you're not applying for a scholarship and you just want admission, I like to tell people to allow at least a month to process your application, because it needs to go through our office and through the supervisor and the faculty to get all the sign-offs. And at the end of that month, you should have an outcome.
Brilliant. So that's for Michael. There we got wonderful Julie and Jane. Oh, the Jane who we all love just a little bit. Oh, so Bree, darling, how do I put my hand up? You don't have to put your hand up, Bree. You're a mate of mine. Oh, she worked it out anyway. Hello. Queen Bree, talk to us, you legend. Oh, sound, Angel.
Yep, now I've got to turn the sound off. My question is, so I'm considering transferring my PhD candidature, and I'm wondering if I could just do this right now. I think we've got like 2 days till the end of census. census. So what's the process with transferring?
It's a great question, and there's a few people on this call that I won't highlight. I'm not looking in your general direction. You're not the only one on this call, Bree. And that person who I'm looking at may also want to speak to this matter too. So, Bree, transfers are very, very common, and particularly in sort of our volatile political environment in higher education, supervisors go, things don't work, institutions change. So the transfers are very, very common. So you please fill in, and can you just write that down for Michelle too? So I told her Bree might be doing an application. So just watching for Bree. Michelle is our head of admissions, 1L, legendary. So I'm just making sure you know Michelle. She's a real human. She really cares for you and she's phenomenal. So Bree, what happens is you apply as normal, but you put in the application that you are transferring, right? This is a much more simple story because you've already been assessed by an Australian university. So you know, load up all your documents like Doug's doing. That's great. Load it all up, but you're a transfer student. And I won't mention the university, but what then happens, Bree, is that a member of our office, sometimes Michelle, sometimes me, if they want a dean involved, then writes to that university and asks how much of your RTP, research training program, has been exhausted. Now, don't worry about that, Bree Darwin. All it means is if you've been enrolled for a year, you transfer to CDU, noting that you've had 1 year of RTP. The world doesn't end, but the government through CHESN, this Commonwealth Higher Education number thing, CHESN, yeah, it just means they sort of stalk us a bit, Bree. So it means it stops a student enrolling in 2 universities at the same time. So a transfer occurs whereby a dean or Michelle writes to your university and asks how much of the RTP has been exhausted. That letter is received from your university, and in, out, shake it all about, you're through. That's it. Very, very straightforward. Is that helping, Bree? Love you very much, Bree.
Yes, I think so. Yes, it's helpful. I'm just will this be possible to do in, I think, 3 days?
Well, get the application in, and what I'd say to you is, darling, we'll start, right? So basically with transfers, the timelines are a bit different anyway because you're already enrolled, darling. So we'll get the transfer in place and we'll just start you off. It's what we did with Piper. So that's well, let's just start. Let's do the form today. And yes.
Also, in the comments, it sounds like I've got a similar problem that this person, Murray, might have too.
Right, so we'll get to Murray in 1 second. We always knew that Bree would end up probably running this university, I think. Well done, Bree. We'll go straight to, is it Michael? But we'll go to Julie first. Julie, talk to me, darling, because obviously you're synergetic to our Bree.
Absolutely. So what I wanted to know is if you've run out of the RTP, for want of a better phrase, do you stop at one university and start afresh at the second, or you can still transfer? And if you're starting afresh, what about your data and your ethics and all of that?
Yes, so that's the crucial thing. So if it is the same topic, then you are a transfer. And so what would then happen is your ethics clearance comes from your university and it's positioned in our university. So the ethics clearance is scooped up and lodged here. But if you're starting a new topic, that's when it's brand new, start the party again. But if you're moving yourself and the project, and look, if the RTP runs out, transfers are complicated beasts, we know that. The government, by our legislation, wants our students through in 3 years at best and 4 years at worst. But, our job is to care for you all and get you through so you can get back to your life as well and get the best result for you. Good on you. Good on. We'll come back to Julie in a second. Julie, Bree, Julie, meet each other. You'll see each other in about a month's time. Now, who are we going to now? Who did Bree say? Oh, now, do I pronounce your wonderful name now? Theasia? What if it's a hard C or a hello? I'm ready, PhD. Theasia. Pronounce your name for me so I'm calling you properly, my darling.
Thank you. Taisia.
Theasia. Oh, that is magnificent. That's changed my life already. Right. I'm already not satisfied with the experience, but I want to do another one. But now I work full time. Right. So this is great. This is great, darling. So I'm already taking some master's undergraduate diploma. I'm a mathematician. You are a joyous human being. I am so excited You are our unicorn. I cannot tell you how excited I am. We did an interdisciplinary PhD. Oh, materials engineering. Data science. My wonderful husband is a surface scientist, so he's going to lose his mind. It was shallow, nothing to do with yes, and theoretical physics. I'm working on it. I'm in the US. I'm getting a good background to become a better researcher, be able to do a second PhD. Right. Yes. So this is exciting. So firstly, the mathematicians, you are precious human beings. We will protect you and protect your brain. So, right, you can start again. The digital doctorate is magnificent. Almost all of the students I supervise are not in the Northern Territory, they're not in Australia. So please, 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 we welcome the digital doctorate. You would enrol as normal. What this is called, my love, is an offshore enrolment. So when you're doing the magic form, you just tick offshore, right? And you enroll as normal. You can choose what model you would do. Do a traditional thesis, which of course is very common if you're thinking of theoretical mathematics. Do the traditional thesis, or if you've got some publications on the way through, you may consider doing a PPP. Have you got publications, my darling?
Not in mathematics, not in the areas that I am not strong. That's the point, right? I can do things, but I can't do what I have passion for. You understand? I do. So
yeah. Look, certainly, and look, any university in the world would grab you and they would be lucky to have you. You are a precious human. But yes, we would love to see you at CDU. We have a wonderful group of mathematicians, a fantastic theoretical physicist as well. And then there's my husband, who will be losing his mind when he hears about you. So this is an option for you. If you would consider us, we would love to accompany you on your journey, my love.
That's awesome. So I'll plan and probably I'll contact you at some point later, because I also work full time right now. That's how I can pay for my stuff. Right?
Exactly right. And what I'd say to you is, remember, I did my PhD part-time while in full-time work, and you've got to have a system and a structure and a habit stack. Yeah. You know this, I'm not telling you anything different. And as long as you touch the thesis for half an hour to an hour a day, you will get that thesis finished and well.
Awesome.
We are so privileged to have spent this time with you. That is amazing.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Oh, Sarah, Sophie's BFF has a question. Come on, my.
I saw Murray's comment in the chat. Do you want to ask him first, and then if you answer that one, then I'll follow it up, because I think we've got the same question. He's asking about supervisors that are not CDU based, and so am I.
Oh, right. So you've had a look, Murray. So, Murray, how are you, mate?
Yeah, good. Thank you. Enjoying the presentation so far. Glad to be here.
Oh, great, mate. So you're saying CDU doesn't quite have the supervisory in your particular area. What's your area, Murray?
Law.
It's law. Oh, my goodness. I was talking with the Dean of Law this morning.
Yeah, I've had a couple of conversations with Gothal, I think, and she sounded encouraging, but a couple of years ago, when I looked at doing this, I looked at several universities. I looked at about 7 or 8 universities around Australia, and there was only 2 who had people that I thought would be suitable for what I planned on doing. But
right.
Yeah.
So, Murray, what I'd say, and what area of law, Murray?
I want to look at the idea of remand in particular, about what happens to people who are in remand but are then not found to be guilty of the crime that they were charged.
Fantastic area. I'm terribly excited by that. I supervise a student, wonderful gentleman, who was doing that from social work, looking at the consequence of remand on social work and social workers. So it's a fabulous area. What I'd say to you, Murray, is, as I said, I was talking with the Dean of Law this morning. He just hired 3 brand new colleagues 2 weeks ago. So the first thing I'd say is just check. We might be lucky, and one of those people might be useful. But what I'd say is the key is to create a supervisory panel that can help you, and there are many ways to help you. Content expertise is one, but also, can I be honest with you, you can get too close to the content expertise too. So if there's a person in, on and around the area, that's great. But we do also allow, if you've got colleagues elsewhere, that we will try and create an adjunct supervisory relationship for them. So we give colleagues an adjunct status at CDU, and that they can be part of your supervisory team. And so they're also, they're having to do our code of conduct, do all our training, so they're cared for and you know what you're getting. But what I'd say, Murray, just have a look at the new colleagues in law that were hired the last couple of weeks, all right?
Yep. And so, so I get admitted to the CDU PhD program rather than the PhD program of the supervisor.
Well, Darwin, obviously I would love you to be at CDU, but I would say to you, if you found a university with a great supervisor and you like that university, enroll there, Murray. Enroll there, seriously, and just know that we'll care for you. And obviously you've got the CDU email address, so that suggests we can keep you in the family anyway. But if you found good supervisors at a university you respect and you trust, then go there, Murray. Absolutely go there, all right?
Okay, all right.
But we will always care for you and look after you.
Thanks.
You're a member of the family, bless you. Now, Sarah, did Murray's answer talk to me, Sarah?
I'm very interested. As you know, I'm on staff here at CDU, and I'm kind of specialised myself right into this niche school-based researching meets science education meets literacy. It's quite. I can draw back on it, but I found someone who can talk my language. And he happened to be in town the last week or so, and he said that we got very excited about a project. So whilst I can source a supervisor that can manage my broader PhD needs, this guy could possibly be the right person to fill the gap in terms of disciplinary knowledge. And I'm wondering how CDU could manage to add him onto the how does CDU do adjuncts?
Right, so I've had to do this. As some of you know, I've been at CDU for 3 months, and almost all of my students, and I love my crew at Flinders. Flinders is a very special place to me, but a lot of my students have decided to come. And because we basically travel in the back of a Pajero, the supervisors that also supervise these great students decided they were going to hop on the back of the Pajero too. So I literally created adjunct roles for these colleagues. So my students, the wonderful Amanda, hi Amanda, has joined us, and her entire supervisory team of 4 other people have all got adjuncts. And so basically she's moved institutions, but has the same supervisory team. And we did that, Sarah, by me going online and going adjunct CDU and finding an online form and filling it in. And I did that. And then they were adjuncts.
I thought it was going to be a bit more complicated than that because of the funding arrangement. Well done. I'll be able to do I'll be able to apply now. Thank you.
That is fantastic. And look, it's great. And I love the adjunct. I'm obviously, I have full academic status at Flinders University. I have an adjunct role at the University of Guelph in Ontario and Canada. So I'm a big supporter. I mean, this is what international education is about. We just want to make sure that you're cared for and that you've got the right supervisory team. But as I said, in Murray's case, if he's got a great supervisor and, at another university, then go there. If you're happy here, and adding another human will enhance the experience, well, let's do that.
Thank you.
You're the best. Wonderful, Elaine. Hello, Elaine.
Hi, Tara. How are you?
Very good, my darling. How can we help you?
I don't know. I feel very excited. You're my idol. I'm like, I follow your Instagram and everything. My boyfriend, I actually met each other while we were reading your book, Digital Dieting.
Oh, I feel like a mother. I feel like this. That is lovely, and thank you for that. It's a very precious book to me, that one. So that's made my day, Elaine. Thank you, my love.
So we were very excited about your good news, moving to Darwin and starting everything. So my question. I started my master in translation and interpreting, and it's by coursework.
Yes.
So I've never done thesis before.
Yes.
Writing a proposal is very daunting to me. I'm sure you talked about how to prepare it in one of your videos, but just wondering, and none of my family members have ever went to university before. So I don't know the process basically. How should I write a proposal properly?
Oh, you're wonderful. The first thing to always remember, Elaine, about these proposals is like people make a lot of money writing books about proposals, right? To get everybody a bit anxious and a bit frightened and a bit weird, right? And the actual point is, Elaine, there are thousands of different models and modes, right? So don't think there's one way to skin this cat. It's like disco, this is what disco is. This is what a proposal is. They generally have some headings, my darling, but what I would say is proposal, have a title and have something, Elaine, like what problem are you solving? What's the gap in knowledge into which you're going to be working, right? Then list for us some key names, so some big names that you think are important in the research. And then you'd have a method section or a methodology section that explores how you are going to fill that gap. So how are you going to create new knowledge and fill that gap? And that's basically it. It's very different from the proposal you do at a confirmation of cancer, but on the way in, it can be 1,000 words, it can be 2,000 words. And what we're assessing, Elaine, is just your capacity to ask a good question, show that you can read, and show that you can write and that you're curious. And that's all I'm interested in. When I'm reading it, I'm more interested in you than the proposal, to be honest with you. And so the proposal is a proxy for your motivation and your interest. So don't think there's a particular template, because there's not, particularly for the proposal coming in. It's about your CV, you, and just seeing that you've got the academic literacies to give it a good go. Does that help a bit?
Definitely. There needs to be more soul in the proposal. That's my interpretation.
Does, because darling, we're using it as a proxy for you. We're using it because, Elaine, darling, we never want to set you up to fail. We want to make sure the human being that comes into a doctoral program enjoys it, loves it, and has a good chance for being successful, right? That's what we want. The only reason we exist is to enable your success. So we use a few proxies to make sure you're going to be okay.
So will I be eligible? Because it says lots of like eligibility criteria would say you need to complete like a thesis in your master degree, but I've never done that before. What can I do to become eligible?
Yes, so we do take colleagues that have done coursework master's degrees, obviously, right? The conventional pathway in, my love, is very much, an honours thesis or a graduate diploma in research methods or a research master's degree. Elaine, did you do any dissertation in that coursework master's at all?
I did one course in a research method.
That'll count. That'll count. That'll be, you saw that was a meaningful look between grabbers and steel. That will count. And Elaine, what I would simply do is I would apply, because in our regulations, there's a certain line that says the dean.
Yeah, I can see your crown.
Can let people in through alternative pathways. All right. Now, a case has got to be made. As I said, Elaine, my vibe on making that case is I don't want to set you up to fail. Right. You already are demonstrating you're a brilliant person. You've got a master's degree. So any evidence you can give us, you know, it might be interesting work you've written, so you might have even done peer-reviewed publications, something, anything you can provide for us, Elaine, that helps me with my eyes open and my heart open, that says I'm letting Elaine into this program and she knows what she's doing and I'm setting her up for success. Does that make sense, Elaine?
I think so.
There's all sorts of alternative pathways we can let you in. Honours is the easiest one. Research masters is the other one. That subject on research methods in the coursework masters will help enormously, but make the case, and in our policy, the dean can make a determination on an alternative pathway. Are you happy, Fiona?
Mm-hmm. We also have, you can go through the masters by, begin in the masters by research and then upgrade to a PhD. That's another option.
And Elaine, darling, a lot of people do that at CDU. So there is it's like in many ways the old British system where people do enroll in the masters and upgrade. Okay, so that's an option too.
My last concern: how's the weather like in Darwin?
It's hot, baby. It's hot. It's hot. No, look, it's fantastic, Elaine. I love it. I came from, I'm still acclimatizing a bit because I've come from like -4 New Zealand. So it was a bit of a shock to the old girl. But look, it's great weather. The sun is shining. Vitamin D, my goodness me, I'm healthy as a bloody Polak bull, Elaine. Come on. No, darling, it's delightful. It's a great town. As my parents said, the reason I'm here is, they got married and had a lot of their life in Broome in the northwest of Western Australia. And they always said, you haven't lived until you've worked in the north of Australia. And they would be right. Come and join us, Elaine. To the wonderful Jose, how are you, sir? Talk to me. Hand up, brother. Sound, darling. Let's see.
Hey. Hello, sorry if my audio is a little bit off because I live in the Amazon, so it's the rainforest,
Nice.
and then the rain is just super heavy just now.
Well, we can hear you beautifully, my darling. As you can hear, we've got a lawnmower going, so Fiona is just managing the lawnmower work. Go for it, darling.
Thank you so much. Well, I'm a little bit of at Elaine's team. I'm one of your biggest fans. I've watched your videos several times, and that's how I find out about this Zoom meeting. So my question is that, what opportunities do we have as international students? Because I'm very interested in starting my PhD program.
Yes.
But I find a little bit of struggle to find a supervisor since I'm too far away from Australia and everything.
Oh, well, darling, the first thing I'd say is write to me directly. And as I did with a couple of our wonderful international students this morning, I wrote straight to Alan, in Alan's case, the Dean of Law, and said, look, Alan, let's workshop these 2 students. Let's see if we can find a home for them. So email me directly, darling, and I will talk with the subject expert. And, I'll say, I've met you, you were very involved in this gig and very excited. And let's see if we can place you, darling. Let's do it that way, all right? So just send me, it doesn't have to be like the scary proposal. It can be like, tell me about you, send me a CV, tell me the stuff you're interested in, tell me the disciplines, and we're winning, all right? Let's get you sorted.
Thank you, yeah. Thank you so much. Do you have an email directly to you or to university?
Yeah, no, darling, it's directly to me. I am a self-sourcing pudding. So yes, tara.brabazon@cdu.edu.au. And for colleagues that may be sending me more private matters, and this includes the wonderful Bree going forward, I'm the only person in my box. So don't think there's going to be like 57 people going, yeah, did you? So I'm the only person in my box. No one else sees those emails except me, okay?
Thanks. And another thing, the last question, what funding opportunities are there also for international students?
Right, now, darling, this is important. So if you put in CDU HDR scholarships, if you just put that into Google, I can give you the URL, but the quickest way to do it is just whack that into Google and you'll go straight to the page and you'll see there's a whole section on international students and the scholarship process you go through. We've made it as clean and as crisp and an online form that we can make. So we absolutely welcome your application.
Thank you so much.
You're the best. And send me an email. Love to hear from you. Let's see if we can do a bit of business, mate. Fantastic. Yay.
Sure.
And wonderful Jamie. How are you, Jamie? Oh, sound, Angel. Let's see if I can help you. Sound, darling.
Sorry, I've got to say, I've watched your videos for so long. They're brilliant. And I've sort of had my question answered about going in from a research master's and upgrading to a PhD. I'm wondering how do you decide how someone gets into a PhD or master's? Because I've submitted my thesis and it's come back with basically doing a nursing master's combined coursework and research component. So it was a 18,000 word thesis, and I've got a credit pending on that with the corrections.
Right.
So would that sort of have me looking at the master's research and then trying to upgrade, or?
Well, look, it's an interesting one. Again, make the case. In the old days, Jamie, when dinosaurs roamed the earth, you would decide if someone was doing a master's or a PhD by the topic. So as I did my little introduction, so if the topic was a good synthesizing piece of work at about 50,000 words, it'd be a master's. If it had a significant original contribution to knowledge, you'd be enrolled in a PhD. I now understand, as part of our widening participation agenda, led so often by our wonderful colleagues in nursing, midwifery and allied health, that we do have alternative pathways and we need that scaffold. So I'm very comfortable, Jamie, for you to be very clear and say, okay, well, look, I'll apply for the Masters, noting that in our first milestone, which is the confirmation of candidature, this is the work Fiona and I are doing at the moment, we are very much formalising to make sure that in that event, it's a very straightforward process to upgrade. So it's probably been a bit clunky in the past, Jamie, where, how do we make this happen? Yeah. We're creating a streamlined digital workflow so that, all right, so in this milestone, we are confronting an upgrade. So let's do this properly and appropriately and carefully for the human involved. So yeah, do that. I'm comfortable. I'm also comfortable for you to have a go, you know, make the case and see if you want to go straight into a doctorate, because you know the dean.
Wow. Thank you.
You're the best. And nurses run our world. Whenever we enroll a PhD in nursing, I think a new little unicorn is born, Jamie. You are a very precious, precious little group to me. So our nurses, our midwives, our allied health crew, I will just enroll you all day long. You change the world. You're legendary.
And just that explanation that you gave about how the ethics works at Charles Darwin, that just sounds brilliant, because I had a relatively, quite a small research project that I did as part of my degree, and it just seemed, quite challenging just for a small project. So the way you've got it described it at Charles Darwin sounds really good.
I've never seen anything quite like it, to be honest. I was surprised, Jamie, when I arrived here, and it's really a caring committee. I mean, Hayley, a wonderful professional staff member, trained lawyer, but she loves students, she cares for students, and she really does take us all by the hand and knows that we've got to help our students, that this is part of research training. So I've never seen anything like it in my life.
And
thank you.
The chair is very approachable, and if students have questions, she can meet with them. It's you do your confirmation of candidature and then your ethics, but you can still be having these discussions and asking questions. And if a question doesn't make sense in the application, you can get clarification. And I think that's the best way to do it, is to try and get it right the first time, so the committee's happy and you're answering the questions and giving them the information they need. And then that makes it just an easier pathway.
Fantastic. And she's a nurse, Jamie. Our head of our committee's a nurse. Come on.
Thank you.
Now we've got from Deepak. How are you, Deepak? Wonderful to be in touch again. I'm applying in Solar Cell to work with. Oh, Jay, fantastic. Do we have a Tara? Tara? Oh, T-A-R-A.
Yeah, T-A-R-A, yeah.
I suddenly thought you were doing AC/DC with my name, Deepak, and I was going to go, do you want me to my way to help work? I will, I will. It's early on Monday. Look, mate, we don't as such, so I wish we did. So we don't have the North American model of the teaching assistant, the research assistant. Having said that, work is available. And I'm picking up particularly, we're dealing with engineering. Yeah, so engineering, we've got a rather big engineering cohort at CDU, so teaching is available. And we also, Deepak, the other thing that helps, I think, students at CDU is we have different modes of teaching. So we also, particularly for our crew in the sciences and engineering, they have intensives here. So it means you can focus on your thesis and then, have 2 weeks of an intensive with the students either on campus or doing their intense period, and then go back to your research. So there absolutely is RA and TA work available. It's not a scheme or a program, but there is TA and RA work available.
Okay, thank you so much.
Good on you. It's great to see you. It's fantastic. We've been in touch. This is brilliant. Now, where are we going now? Have I got to scan down to see? That's why you're here. So should my potential supervisor... Right. So Murray's asked a great question. Murray, you're a legend coming to this call. do I write my proposal with CDU uppermost in my mind, or should my potential supervisor be uppermost in my mind? Can I actually argue against both of those, Murray? What should be foremost in your mind, brother, is what you want to do.
Okay.
You're the star of your own life. And if you can't be the star of your own life and your own PhD, we're in real trouble, right? So I'd start with you, mate, and what you want to do. And then from that, work out if the institution and the supervisor will fit in with you, mate.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Because, you know, we only ever do one PhD. Only 1% of the world's population has a PhD, right? It's a once in a lifetime gift. So let's make sure you get out of it what you want, all right?
Okay, thank you.
Isn't Murray legendary? Okay, Talk. Will the domestic students get scholarships? Secondly, can I have an external? Hello, Talk. You are
Hi, hello.
You are legendary. So will all the domestic students get a scholarship? We don't know how many people are applying, mate.
Oh, okay.
Oh, so I mean, the thing is, we hope you all will, but we never know how many are going to apply. So we've got a good number of scholarships this year, for which I'm incredibly grateful to our DVCRI. So we've got so you're not applying for one, you're applying for a chunk, which is great. So please apply. But as I said, I'm making sure it's done really fairly. So the ranking is transparent, mate. No, and I promise you, Talk, looking straight at you, mate. There's no dialer mate involved. There's no mates on the committee that gets a scholarship. None of that stuff. It's about the caliber of the students. And that is how the ranking is determined, mate. And secondly, can I have an external supervisor? As I said, the great news is if you've got a supervisor at CDU, they can click a button and fill in a magic form and create an adjunct role for somebody who can become your supervisor.
Yeah, the reason I asked that question is that the second one, my previous research, I have done the government policy on refugees and asylum seekers with Christianity. And I don't think we have any supervisor for Christianity at the university. So I was thinking if I choose similar subjects, will there be any way that I can find my other, maybe support supervisor or assistant supervisor here in Melbourne itself? Because my previous supervisor is available to help me for that. So yeah, I was a little bit curious about that.
No, so tremendous. So the product is coming from a Christian imperative. So it is a Christian that's great. That's fantastic. I've supervised a few of those, so I'll be in touch with you. Can I say, Talk, mate? The reason there may be a little bit of work at CDU is I was doing, as I said to Fee, the field of education codes on the weekend. And we each year for the last 12 years have enrolled students in theology. So and like if I hadn't done the field of education code on the weekend, I wouldn't have known that. So please do check on that, because we do have some scholars working in theology. We also have some some colleagues working in philosophy as well. But in terms of you and that wonderful colleague in Melbourne, then please, if you've got a great supervisor at CDU, ask them to do an adjunct role for our colleague in Melbourne. And I'm a big supporter of that, and I want to thank that colleague for their involvement.
Oh, that's good.
Great stuff.
Thank you for that.
Brilliant. Hello, James. Are you James? Oh, please describe the work connection between yourself and Gazelle. Oh,
yeah. I'm trying to work out sort of who's the most important for a law PhD. Do I talk to you or do I talk to Gazelle? Or...
I talk to Gazelle. I would talk to Gazelle about everything. I would talk to her about growing nice roses. I'd talk to her about managing in Darwin. Gazelle is legendary. I know Gazelle from my time at Flinders University, and she stole my heart at that point. She's one of the brightest people I've ever met. And so I would certainly get in touch, Murray, with Gazelle. She's just a phenomenal human being. She's not showing her face at this point because she's embarrassed of talking with me, but she's legendary, and she's a good scholar. I read a piece of her work this morning, and she's legendary, Murray. She's legendary.
Okay. Yeah, thanks. I'll send an email this afternoon. Thank you.
So we've got now. Who was that, Fee? Who was this wonderful person? James, just freshly out of the oven with an MA. Come on. I did MEd on evaluating the critical literacy practice of WeChat diasporic users. Oh, James, you're a legend. What if CDU has got research domain for an extension of this topic? Bring it, James.
Yeah, so hi Tara. Can you hear me?
I certainly can. I'm so excited I could explode, James.
Yeah, I just got my thesis published I think last month. Yeah, so it's out there on the library website. And
James, what's your last name? James, if you're happy to
Jing.
spell it.
Jing.
Got it. Thanks, mate.
Okay. So yeah, as I read your book, and I kind of quoted your simulacrum references in one of the books, and it's got very insightful analysis in my discussion chapter. So I appreciate that, and I wanted to to say thank you. And yeah.
James, thank you. But also, can I say CDU? I mean, yes, I'm here, and bring it, James, bring it, brother, bring it. But James, can I also say, besides me going, bring it, we have an amazing group of colleagues looking at critical literacy, online literacy. I was in touch with these colleagues last week, and they're phenomenal. So if you want to send me a message, and they were literally saying, we really are waiting for these great students working on critical literacy in the online environment to arrive, and book them and they will come. James, you're here. So James, write me an email, mate, and I'll introduce you to some remarkable colleagues.
Right. That's fantastic. And then and also what I wanted to ask is how I can extend my current domain or topics into broader kind of ethnographical studies, like getting into a digital ethnographic realm.
Yes.
Of getting the real data, not just the interpreted data or the reflected data on the internet. But to really get to the people's daily lives and how these kind of things are affecting people and their literacy practices. Yeah,
absolutely phenomenal, mate. And there's no doubt that online ethnography is big and has been big for 12, 14 years. Sarah Pink really built this field. She is legendary. So yes, this is the time to do the proper ethnographic granular work, James, because as you've said, the secondary data is shaping, and that's fine, and the interpretation is fine, but this is the moment, I think, to use survey data, use some really rich insider, outsider, participant observation work from digital ethnography, and do it properly, so we really know what's going on rather than just sort of ideology.
Okay, all right.
Fantastic.
Okay, so which particular domain? Sorry for keep adding in more questions.
No, great.
Which particular domain does CDU currently have that match to the topic of critical discourse analysis, or what? Well, like the pragmatic how would you say it? the social linguistic aspects of.
Yes. Well, James, there's no doubt we have unusually too, for a university like this, we've got a very large linguistics area. If you put in linguistics at CDU, you'll see that. If that's your area, thanks for playing. And CDA, critical discourse analysis, is used as a methodology by many of those colleagues. So linguistics for a regional university is quite big here. So there's a department, mate, so it's huge. So that option is available to you. If you want it more on the education side and online emerging citizenship, you might be moving more into the education suite. But I think there's plenty there for you, mate.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Legendary. Now, how are we going? Any other questions? Are we going down the list?
I think that's it.
That's fantastic. Unbelievable. The final question I did want to ask, though, is of Fee. Mm-hmm. And I've never asked Fee this question, so I thought this was a nice way to finish if we could. And Fee, how long have you been working in the higher degree space at CDU?
On and off for 23 years.
Do you see why I love her so? So this is an experienced woman. But for all our crew out there, is there a characteristic or characteristics of the best students that you've worked with in those 23 years? Is there something that unifies them together? I was trying to think about this in my own life, but
Yeah.
what have been the characteristics of students that have done well, that have enjoyed the experience?
Yeah, look, I think that all PhD students and master research students are really like passionate and idealistic and excited, and that's why I like working with HDR students. I really enjoy it, and that's why I've stayed in this space for so long. But I think you have to sort of temper that with just making the scope, being able to make the scope enough for the original contribution of knowledge, but not too big that you become overwhelmed and you go, oh, I can't do it anymore, it's too hard. So I guess that's the ability to work with your supervisor and do something really special, but keep it within the scope that's manageable.
That is fantastic. And I'll come back to that in a second. That's a crucial point that Fee's just said there. This thesis has got to be doable. It's got to, when you have your research questions or you've located the research problem you're going to solve, it's got to be solvable. It's got to be able to be executed as a project and finished. We start a PhD so that you can finish it. So if ethics is going to be too much of a problem, don't go into that area. I'm a big believer in do exactly the topic that you want to do, but we also need to make sure that you're cared for and you start this degree so that you can finish this degree. And that comes from really good supervision, a really good group of people. It takes a whole institution to get a PhD student through, our librarians, our technical support, our ethics crew. But making sure that it is doable, I think, is key, and making sure that the relationship with the supervisor is a strong one. Crucial. Now, I just want to touch base quickly back with our Julie once more. Julie, darling one, just checking with you because you've been sort of with us since we started it at CDU. So how are you feeling now, Julie? Are you ready to rumble?
I am, and thank you for the feedback. That was fabulous. I've never had that before. My issue is my supervisor told me I had 10 years, so I'm I think I'm in 8 years with lots of gaps, and I moved to Adelaide from Melbourne, and so for 3 years I've done nothing. So I'm sort of cut off. I have access to the library through someone's kind intervention, but that's it. So they're basically waiting for me to submit my thesis. So does that then make a difference in terms of transferring?
No. So we'll just transfer, Jules, with our eyes wide open, right? Transfer with our eyes wide open and go, you know what, the RTP is exhausted, so be it. And Julie, what I'd say to you is, you know, our dear friend Eunice, all my love to Eunice. Eunice was enrolled for, wow, was it 11 years, Julie? And I managed to meet Eunice, and hers was exactly what you've described there, over a long period of time, bit dated, bit uneven, bit patchy, bit, you know, not a mess, but there were gaps, and significant gaps, to get this thing concluded. She finished that thesis in 5 months.
I would be thrilled if I could do that. Absolutely. Because I've got everything. It's just how to put it together.
Right. So I think that's what we do, Julie. Is anybody else deeply inspired by Julie? I am. So Julie, let's do this. So Julie's met Bree. You two are going to be besties from this point forward. I think this is great. And colleagues, I'm getting emotional. I'm getting emotional. I was meant to meet Bree today. I was meant to meet Julie today. Colleagues, can I thank you for sharing this hour of power with the Queen Fiona and myself? I am inspired by all of you every single day. I'm excited. I'm thrilled, and I wish you all so much success. And look, if you come and join us at CDU, that's a dream, and we get to care for you 24/7, and that's great. If, however, you end up in Melbourne or any of the other fantastic universities, that's great too, because the PhD and the Research Masters is about you and your best self. And that's really what we need to do, and we need to care for, and we need to protect. So colleagues, thank you so much for this wonderful hour. Get in touch with me anytime, and I hope we can welcome you to CDU really soon. So much love to you all. Good energy. Have a lovely rest of your day, and a lovely evening for our colleagues that have joined us at night. Take care. All my love. Bye, Faye.